Special called school board meeting here at Woodford County Public Schools. Do roll call. All members are here in person. We also want to welcome our new superintendent, Dr. Jones. Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right. We only have a couple things on the agenda today. The first, can I have a motion to approve the travel requests? Motion by Mr. Wilson.
Second.
Second by Ms. McCowan. Any discussion?
I just wondered about, I emailed Dr. Jones this morning, but the funding source are Title I funds, and so, like, how many dollars do we have in those funds if these travel requests are approved? Like, how much will we have left over and that kind of thing? I thought would be good to know.
So Northside, oh, thank you. Northside is using funds from like leftover funds. And they actually on their request put either July or September, just waiting to see what happens with all the frozen funds currently right now. And so they just wanted to have the approval in case that they had the funding and felt like it was okay to go. And then I checked on Simmons, and they would have $120,000 left in their allocation just for their school. So.
I didn't email you this, so if you don't have this information, I totally understand. It was just something I thought of just now. Who is going? Is this primarily teachers, or is this administration as well? Okay, I was just curious about that.
Now, and so I think one administrator and maybe the new dean would be going with Northside, but
Okay.
yeah. Any other questions?
All right. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. All right. The other thing that we had on the agenda is just a discussion item. Most of you know we've been working on a voting district for the board members, and so we did meet with county clerk's office to get this done. So we wanted to share the results. We posted electronic versions of the options already, so those are made public. We want to make sure that everybody has time, because we'll actually be voting on this as an item at the regular meeting on the 28th this month. So this was just an opportunity to make them public, have everybody, give everybody a chance to review them. We can talk about them here as well, but just so the public has them and can give their input for over the next few weeks.
I just had a quick question. Do you know when they were posted?
Was it last Wednesday?
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
When
Wednesday.
you sent out the notice for the agenda, I looked and I just didn't see them attached, but they've been attached since, okay. Just wanted to make sure. Thank you.
Yeah. And just a little recap on these. So we didn't have to move things a ton, but there are obviously changes. There were some of the voting districts that had too many people in the population, some that had not enough people. And so we did what we could to move certain neighborhoods around to even out the population between all of the different districts. So the population is listed per district on each of these options. You can see the street names. You can see, kind of where the lines changed. Personally, I like the ones where the lines are a little bit smoother on 2 and 3, just to throw that out there, because it kind of makes District 1, Mr. Ambrose's, or Mr. Wilson's district, kind of a clean cut across the top there, but yeah. It was an interesting exercise. We were able to utilize the system that the county had in having the census data, so that as we moved, and everything had to be done by census blocks. We couldn't just draw our own kind of lines across. It had to be very specific to census blocks, which when you think about the different sizes of our different neighborhoods and subdivisions, one little change drastically altered it, and then you got to make another change somewhere else. So it took us a couple meetings to get through it, but hopefully the options, one of the 3 options, are agreeable to everybody. But yeah, just really wanted to share these for everybody's information.
So this is just as is?
That's what it currently is, yes. So that can be found online as well. We don't have a big printout of that one, but that's one. But yeah, so the one that is for the streamers, this is what it currently sits at. And the last time this one was done was back in 2017. And so we wanted to use more recent census data.
And it's funny too, the other thing that we learned is that, like, if you see on this first map, this first option, you see the orange, the yellowish orange, where these two are together, kind of right in the middle. You can't just take one of those and put it with another district, because they have to be, you have to have like a contiguous thing. So if you did that, then it would be, you know, not connected to another yellow spot or something like that. I mean, it was all very, and like Adam was saying, it's all got to do with sort of census blocks, and they have to be touching each other. So it wasn't like you could say, oh, let's take this street and move it here, because that makes sense. Well, when you look at the census block, it was too many people.
Right.
So it was very interesting.
Right, and we're also trying to keep in mind the voting precincts, so that we didn't split neighborhoods or split streets and,
How did
you
that
know,
work out?
well-
I know in the past, I've been in 4 or 5.
we had, yeah, so the difficult part of that is there's 8 voting precincts and there's 5 school districts here. So it's not gonna be perfect, but that's another reason we wanted to share this now, is so that the county clerk's office also had
Okay,
this
perfect.
available, and they can review and maybe give some insight into which option may work better for them too, with those voting precincts.
But this keeps, all of these options keep everybody in their district. Nobody gets moved out or anything like that. So really just redistributing the population. And on the first option, this is at 1.5%, and then the other two are 1.75. And you might remember from a previous discussions with Kenneth, just saying that you want to get it as close to nothing, you know, as you possibly can. It can't be anything way outlandish or way off. So these were all, I felt like, really very
Yeah.
good and deliberate, trying to get it as accurate as possible,
And the
as
numbers as
evenly
close,
spread.
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Well, thank you guys both for doing all this work. We definitely appreciate it, because I know it involves a lot of nuance and moving, and definitely appreciate our county clerk, Ms. Jones, and Kenneth, too, for their work. Is there an option that the county clerk's office leans toward, or was easier for them with moving folks around?
We don't know yet. That's
Okay.
why we wanted to make this available this early and have it on the discussion now, so that they would have time to review it as well. Kind of just took advantage of the fact that we're having a special meeting right now for the travel request to include this, so that it was out there and available. And we'll look for feedback over the next few weeks.
Where is it located online?
The
The options?
It's on our website. You
It's
will
on
be
our
able to,
website.
if you go to the Woodford County Public Schools website, we do have a link to it there, because
Okay.
people had been asking for that, so that is there.
Awesome, thank you.
It's kind of hard to find otherwise. If you just Google it, it's kind of hard, but it is, it's
But it's
there.
the current
Uh-huh.
map,
Yep.
not the proposed map.
Correct.
Okay, yes, perfect.
And the proposed maps, and the current map are all attached to the agenda, so anybody that wanted to see it could just go to this agenda and look at it, and they'll be attached to the regular meeting agenda also. Perfect, perfect. And then, I guess the only thing I would say is, I think the last time, we neglected to, the room was full, and we neglected to see, our clerk and staff. So I would ask that it be put at the top of the agenda, so that
I
they don't have
agree.
to sit
Yes.
hours and hours
Yep.
and hours into a meeting. That probably was not
I agree with
pleasant.
that, yes.
Thank you.
Yeah. All right. Does anybody have anything else?
Do you all have any favorites? You would say? Any recommendation on favorites?
I honestly don't. I'm not married to a single one of these. I think they're all fair, and I don't have a feeling about them
Yeah.
strongly.
Yeah, I mean, for my piece, like I said, visually, option 2 and 3 kind of have a more clear-cut, like, flat line across the top. And I think option 2, if I'm not mistaken, has the populations of the 5 districts the closest.
Option
I
one.
think so.
It would have to be option one, because it's 1.5 for option one.
What did you say?
Or with the, yeah, I mean, compared to option 3, sorry. I think option 2 with the flat line across the top and option 3 both have that, but I think the population was even to, the percentage of variable is the same, but I think the numbers were a little bit closer. But anyway, it's very close. So we really wanted to make them as close as possible for the census information.
And did this take into account any, new building kind of areas, population growth kind of areas? Just to kind of, yeah, I know it's hard to kind of get ahead of it, but if we know there's a neighborhood
That's-
of, you know what I mean?
We asked about that, or maybe Adam asked about that, and Kenneth said you can't, it has to be based on that 2020 census. Even though we know there's growth that's gonna be happening in these areas, it can only be based on that information.
That makes sense, that
Yeah.
makes sense.
Yeah.
I just wondered, I'm like always trying to plan ahead.
I know.
Right. Well, we might have to do this again in 2030 when we get new census data, so.
Adam, the only comment I would have is on option 3, District 1 population. That's the largest for me, 5449. And I like that because my area is probably the least likely area to grow, to add population.
Oh, sure.
So that's, I kind of like option 3 because it does, you know, if I lose some, I can still not be, you know, below
Right.
everybody else. But I know District 1 will be the least populated growth area
Okay.
in the county, I would think.
All right. Anybody have anything else?
Don't think so.
All right. Can I have a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
All right. Motion by Ms. McCowan.
I'm gonna have to go ahead and second,
All right.
since she,
Dr. Gould.
Good.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes 5-0. Have a good night, everybody.